kind of give it.
Yeah.
What about you? Who usually apologizes?
He does.
I do. I do.
Is it because you're always at fault, or is it because you just take the ball and run with it?
I don't know. I've always tried to, I don't mean this like, I think I'm high or anything, but I think I've usually tried to be the peacemaker, where at other times, you know, I've been the one who's always stirred things up. But I hate to fight with any of my brothers or sisters, and especially with her as being the oldest, I try to apologize so she won't hold it against me and it won't make things worse later.
Yeah, but
And
when
I've
he
always-
apologizes, he bugs. Like, he'll come up and kiss me on the cheek, and it drives me nuts. He keeps it.
She lets me now.
Or he'll tickle me.
The past
well,
year and a half
I
she's
never
let
see
me.
him anymore, but...
So sometimes even an apology is too much, right? All right, quit apologizing. It's fine. We've got a phone call we're going to take. This is from Lima. Why don't you tell us what your question is?
This question is for Brad and Josh. I have a question for Josh. Since you two are so close in age, would you ever date a girl or agree with the kind of girls that Brad dates?
He can't.
Do the two of you talk about the girls that you would like to go out with, or do you like the same type of girls?
Pretty much.
Do you ever argue over girls? I mean,
No, not the same girl. We might argue if one is pretty or something, but we never argue with the same one. 'Cause
What about the two of you? Do you ever? You're very close in age too, 14 months apart. Do you ever both kind of have an interest in the same guy?
Well, we both have boyfriends.
I've been taken so long that we never had to fight about it.
So it's never been a problem.
No.
That's good. What about you two? Look at those faces.
Well, I'd say, you know, we do have different interests, but I don't think there's ever been a point where we've argued over, you know,
The same.
the same girl. you know.
Maybe at different times, but no.
So you've never gone out with the same girl, not knowing which one you're going out with. I suppose you wouldn't pull anything
No,
like
that's
that.
That's too low, I think.
Good.
Yeah,
trick the
Good.
girl.
definitely.
Have some morals still.
Some morals are good. You have to have standards. Well, we have another caller. Tell us where you're calling from and what your question is.
Hi, this is Molly from Florida, and I was wondering if your parents ever side with one of you more than the other.
Does your parent ever do what?
Side with one of them more than the other.
Oh. Is one of you always right and your parents always stick up for one or the other of you? You're shaking your head.
Yeah. Mom always agrees with her no matter what it was. It was Jenny's right, you're wrong, just shut up.
Oh.
Well, you know, I happen to know that was Bob Placey's daughter calling in, and I wonder why she asked that question, who Bob usually sides with. There must be something behind that question. What about the rest of you? Is your parents usually
It's usually up for grabs, you know.
really pretty even?
If we put on the best show. You know.
Who talks the best talk that night?
Exactly.
Well, I think it is with a lot of responsibilities between us two. Like, you know, we have stuff to do after, you know, school when we get home like that. And you know, I don't say Lowell's lazy, but he's kind of he's hard to get motivated to do work. Yeah. So it's like, you know, he's usually.
I get motivated when I want to.
Yeah. So I make him that he wants.
I let him.
Well, what about being the older boy in the family? Does that put a little bit more responsibility on you?
Yeah, it does. That's like I was saying earlier. It's kind of forced me to be the peacemaker because like Heather's 4 years younger than me, and she's the next oldest after me, and then the youngest is 7. So with me being the oldest and you know, having to babysit them and stuff, I usually have to be the one that stops things. So earlier, I'd think a couple years ago, I used to think that my mom and dad were taking sides with her, when actually it was just coming down to I had to be more responsible and I had to act more my age. And that I learned pretty
That's a
quick.
hard lesson to learn, too, isn't it?
It is.
Now
You
they
don't
take
want that
sides
to
with
be.
him, though, since he's gone all the time.
No, they don't. They expect me to act like I'm 21 years old, too.
Well, yeah, but they always think you're right anymore.
I am.
Well, no wonder they think that. What about the two of you? Who's?
I don't think it's either one of us, if more our little sister.
Oh,
She's
there's
real-
another one involved.
Yes. My mom always goes for my little sister, and my dad just agrees with mom.
So just one little sister and then two brothers.
Yeah.
So is she the baby of the family?
Yes,
then?
very much so.
Very much so. Well, we have another caller. This is from Ada. Go ahead and let us know what your question is.
Heidi, and I'd like to know, me and my sister have a 3.5-year age difference. I'd like to know how old you guys were before you started getting along.
Was there a period where you just didn't get along at all until you reached a certain age and you could begin to work together a little bit more?
We still don't.
You still don't. We're not to that age yet. What about the two of you as sisters?
I would say, I don't know, when we were younger, my mom would always dress us alike, you know, with different colors and everything. And I think when we were like 12 and, you know, in middle school, it was like we wanted to be ourselves and our own. And, you know, we've got like, I don't know, 2 years, we were just like cats and dogs. But now we're just, I don't know, just like friends.
Yeah. Well, don't you get to a point where you begin to appreciate each other more than you fight?
Yeah, with us always being kids, 4 years ago when Heather was 13 and when I was 17, it was like, you know, we both have our different interests. Like she played with her Barbie dolls and I played with cars. You know, not 17, but earlier than that even. She had different interests than I did, so we've kind of kept our separate ways. But as she started growing up and being more interacting with other people and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, growing up and me growing up, it's brought a lot more common to us. So we've gotten along better since then.
So you think the older that you get, the closer you'll get to each other, the better you'll get along?
I think also, like when I notice now that my best friend and I are, you know, we go to different schools and everything, so we're not as close as we used to. And it's like us being sisters, you know, I know she's always going to be home sometimes, so it's like, you know, I can always tell her something that, you know, is really bugging me and everything. So it's like sort of helped in that area too.
How well do you think you know each other? Do you think you pretty much know everything there is to know about each other? Or do you still hold some secrets
I think
back?
we know more than they think we know about them.
They don't know everything you know, huh? What about the two of you? Are there things that you don't know about each other?
We can tell when somebody's like not telling the whole truth, you know, between us two. If one like tells us something like something happened or somebody did something, we can tell, you know, just because we know each other so well.
Do the two of you, do you confide in each other? Do you tell each other things?
Yeah, I do.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So there aren't a lot of things about each other that you don't necessarily think are secrets, keep to yourselves.
Well, with us, it's just started like in the last year or two because we never had anything to talk about before. And now that I'm dating and, you know, he's been dating for a long time, so, you know, now we have things to talk about where before I just didn't want to hear it, you know, and he didn't want to hear the things I talked about, so.
Well, Jimmy, with you leaving home, once you got away, did you really appreciate your family a little bit more, appreciate your brothers and sisters?
I can't really say I appreciate him more because I've always had a deep love for him. And I've always been close to Heather, even though we fought at times.
Yeah.
But being closer, yeah, I can't say, you know, like appreciate, but it has made me think about what I take for granted at times. And it's done a lot of good because, you know, you miss them.
Yeah.
First, I didn't see Heather and the rest of my family for 4 months after I left, which I was really missing them. I was anxious to get back and see him.
Yeah.
And
Even
talk to her.
as much as you might fight, you say you still love each other. Even when you really fight, you might be throwing one another against the wall or across the room. But do you still stand up for each other? Do you stick together?
Yeah.
I used to go to a Christian school, and my sister went back to a public school a year before I did. And she told everyone on the bus that I was this, you know, wicked person, that I was just going to beat up anyone that, you know, messed with my sister or my brother. And, you know, if I didn't think it was right, I would stand up. And this last year, they were like picking on my brother and things, and it just really made me mad because, you know, they're like middle school people picking on like 5th grader, and I was like, you know, and I started, you know, saying quit that and everything, and then they started giving me names and everything. But, I mean, she sticks up for me when I need to be, you know, helped out, and so it's just, I think it's just, I mean, she's like part of you, so it's like part of you is getting hurt.